In this video, I'd like to provide an introduction to the first lesson in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy's Classical Vocabulary course. In this course, we're going to build not only our English vocabulary, but also our Latin and Greek vocabulary. In each lesson, we're going to study a certain topic with a list of vocabulary items related to that topic. Then we're going to learn the Latin and Greek words that are equivalent in meaning to the English words in that vocabulary list. In this first lesson, the topic is heaven, or the study of the heavens. Okay, so in this first lesson, we're going to study 21 Latin words and 21 Greek words that relate to the study of the heavens. All right. In the lesson, what you have is a link to a Google document, and all of the lessons in this course will be available in the form of Google documents because I include the Greek text, the Greek alphabet, and it includes accent marks and breathing marks and things like that. And it's just much easier for me to produce that content when I'm able to work in a Google Doc as opposed to a normal website page. All right, so in the first column, we have our list of English vocabulary items. In the middle column, our Latin words. And then in the third column, we have the Greek words. All of the Greek words are written in Greek letters. So if you haven't studied Greek, it would obviously be very difficult for you. But what I'm going to do in these videos is provide basically a fourth column of vocabulary terms. And what this is called is transliteration. Transliteration. And what it means is I'm simply taking the Greek word and exchanging English letters for Greek letters. Okay? So if you read these words on the board here as we go through the video, you should be able to read the Greek words in your lesson. And even if you can't, just by listening to the words and learning the vocabulary orally, it should be good enough to help you build your vocabulary. All right? So there's lots of objectives that can be served in this course, from English vocabulary, Latin vocabulary, Greek vocabulary, learning the Greek letters and sounds, and then I'll also be adding some commentary to provide some input from classical backgrounds that'll help you to understand these terms more, and how words are brought into the English language from Latin and Greek. So to try and save some time, let's just get right into this first list. As I said, it's on the heavens, and there are 21 words. The first English word is the sky, sky. Now, some may think of the word caelum as heaven in Latin, but the word we're going to learn in this lesson is ether, ether. That's the Latin word for the sky, the ether, okay? And that Latin word is derived from the Greek word. If we look up here, this is the transliterated form of that first Greek word, and it's pronounced aether, aether, aether. So in Latin, ether, in Greek, aether, means the sky. A quick note based on this first item that may be helpful. You may wonder, when we talk about the pronunciation of Latin, how can we know how classical Latin was pronounced? This is one way we can know. We know for certain how a classical Greek was pronounced. One of the reasons we know is because there are accent marks and breathing marks included in many texts going way back in history. So we have a much better understanding of the sound of classical Greek than we might of classical Latin. But when we look at a word like this, aether, and then we see that word was taken right into Latin, we know that when the Romans brought it into their language, they brought it in as a spoken word. And so it was aether. And when we look at the spelling of the Latin word, we see the diphthong, ae, must have been pronounced like the Greek I. Okay, aether. So the first word is the sky. The Latin is ether, or in classical, aether, and then the Greek is also aether. The second word is star, the English word star. In Latin, it would be stella, stella. So if you ever meet a woman named Stella, her name means star in Latin, stella. And in English, we have words derived from this, like stellar means relating to stars. Constellation has the word stella within it, and so forth. In Greek, the word for star is aster, aster. The third word on our list is constellation, constellation, which is a group of stars, constellation. You can see that the Latin word for constellation is sidus, sidus. The Greek word for constellation is astron, astron. So from numbers 2 and 3, aster and astron, you can see where the word astronomy comes from. It's the study or the laws of the stars, aster and astron. Number 4, the fourth word on our list is a comet, comet. And if we look to the Greek first, we'll see that the Greek word is kometes, kometes. And so the English word is derived from the Greek. If we look at the Latin, we see cometa, cometa. So in English we have comet, in Latin we have cometa, and in Greek we have kometes. Next up, number 5, we have a planet. And the English word planet is derived from the Greek word planetes, planetes. If we look at the Latin word, we find planeta, planeta. So the Latin word was derived from the Greek word, and then the English word was either derived from the Latin word or directly from the Greek, planetes. Next up, we have the names of a few of the planets. The first one is Saturn, and these we know were named after Roman gods. The first planet is Saturn on our list, and the Latin name, of course, is Saturnus, Saturnus. But then we have to ask if we're talking about Saturnus in the Roman religion, what about the Greek? What's the Greek name equivalent to Saturnus? And here we see it's Kronos, Kronos. Kronos is the Greek god equivalent to the Roman Saturnus. Next, number 7 is Jupiter. In English, we say Jupiter. In Latin, we would say Jupiter, Jupiter. In Greek, we would say Zeus, Zeus. We normally say this in English as Zeus, but the Greek pronunciation is Zeus. All right, that's the chief of the Greek gods. Zeus in Greek, Jupiter in Latin. One thing I'd like you to note when you study Jupiter is the second form that's given, Jovis, Jovis, that's the genitive form. If we drop the ending is, we have the stem, J-O-V. It's important for you to know that the name Jove, Jove, if you'll see an expression like by Jove, that word Jove is just another case of the noun Jupiter, okay? Number 8, the planet Mars. The planet Mars is named after the Roman god of war, Mars, which is its name in Latin. But if we look to the Greek, the name of the god of war in Greek is Ares, Ares, okay? Number 9 is the sun. The sun in Latin is sol, sol. This is where we get the word solar, as in solar power. It's power from the sun, solar, okay? In Greek, the word is helios. Starts with an H if we transliterate it. Helios, helios. That's the Greek word for the sun. If we were to say that in the 1500s, Galileo and Copernicus proposed a new theory that was called the heliocentric theory. That means that they believed the sun was at the center of the universe. It was heliocentric. centric. Okay? Helios, the Greek name for the sun. Next, number 10. In your list, you'll see it says the morning star. What this refers to is the planet Venus. And you'll see the Latin name is Venus. Venus. Okay, the name of the goddess of love, Venus. It's called the morning star because sometimes if you get up early before the sun rises and look into the eastern sky, you'll see a bright star rise before the sun. And that star is actually the planet Venus. And because it rises above the horizon before the sun, it's called the morning star. But it's the planet Venus. It also, at some times of the year, sets after the sun. And if you look in the west, you'll see the star following the sun down to the horizon. And at those times, it's called the evening star. But it's the planet Venus. In Latin, it's Venus. The Greek goddess of love is Aphrodite. Aphrodite. She's the goddess of love in Greek, and her name is the name of the planet, Venus, or Venus in Latin. Next, number 11, we have the planet Mercury. Mercury in Latin is Mercurius. Mercurius. And here in Greek, it's named after the messenger god Hermes. Hermes. That's the Greek equivalent to Mercurius or Mercury. Okay, next up. Number 12, we have the moon. The moon. We learned in Latin the sun is sol. Well, the moon is luna. Luna. And in Greek, the word for moon is Selene. Selene. Okay, the moon. Selene. Next, number 13. At the beginning of the month, if you look out in the sky at night, you won't see the moon. The moon is not lit up, and we call that phase of the moon the new moon. The new moon. This is number 13 on your list. In Latin, we call the new moon novi lunium. Novi lunium. And it simply means the new moon. Okay, novi lunium. In Greek, number 13 here, noumenia. Noumenia is the Greek name for the new moon. Number 14 on your list is half moon. At the first quarter of the month and the third quarter of the month, only half the moon is lit, and we call that the half moon. In Latin, the name for half moon is simply luna semiplena. Luna semiplena, and that simply means the half full moon. Luna semiplena. In Greek, we have Selene, which is our name of the moon. Selene dikotomos. Dikotomos. And that simply means half. Selene dikotomos. Okay, that's number 14. Half moon. Next, number 15 on our list is full moon. Full moon. In Latin, it's plenilunium. Plenilunium. Full moon. In Greek, it's panselenon. Panselenon. It means the whole moon. Panselenon. Number 15. The full moon. Number 16. A sunbeam or a ray shining from the sun. A ray of sunlight or a sunbeam. In Latin, it's called radius. Radius or radius in English. Radius. In Greek, we have actis. Actis. Actis is the name of a sunbeam in Greek. Actis or radius in Latin. Next, number 17, an eclipse. An eclipse of the sun or the moon. In Latin, it's eclipsis. eclipsis. Very simple. The English word eclipse, the Latin word eclipsis. And in Greek, it's eklepsis. Eklepsis. So the Latin and the English words are derived from the Greek for eklepsis. Notice here we have in the Greek text the letter psi, psi or psi. You'll notice that it's transliterated as ps. Just like here, the Greek letter chi or chi is transliterated ch. Okay, so there's a few examples of what are called double consonants in Greek, and when we transliterate them with two consonants. The chi or chi is transliterated with ch, dichotomos, and here we see the letter psi or psi transliterated with ps, eklepsis. All right, number 17, an eclipse. The last four are the four directions on earth, or the four winds. The first is we have number 18, the east. The east in Latin is oriens, oriens. If you think of the word oriental, oriental, it means eastern. Okay, from the east. Something that's oriental is from the east. The Latin term is oriens, oriens. And then in Greek, we have Anatole, Anatole, Anatole. If you study history, you'll see that in classical times, the country or the land that we call Turkey was formerly called Anatolia, Anatolia, which simply means the east. Okay? Anatole, the east. Next, number 19, we have the west. The west in Latin is occidens, occidens. In classical, it'd be occidens. In ecclesiastical, occidens. All right? That's the west. In Greek, we have the word dousis, dousis. And I want to make just one note about transliteration with dousis, the west. You'll see here I give you two different forms. In the first one, we use the English letter U, and in the second one, I use the English letter Y. Sometimes, if you see Greek transliterated, you'll see the letter upsilon transliterated as the English U, and other times you'll see it transliterated as the English Y, and there's a reason for that. In Latin, there is a letter U in Latin, and so if we were to transliterate a Latin word into English, we would just bring the U from Latin into English. But the upsilon is a different vowel, okay? Upsilon is a different vowel. So we would have the U, or the U, from Latin, and we might have an upsilon from Greek. And so sometimes the letter Y is used in English to represent the upsilon. The letter U is kept for the Latin U. So we could use either the U or the Y to write the word dousis, dousis, the west. This might be pronounced disis, disis, because sometimes the Greek upsilon is pronounced with, not with an U sound, but a strange sound that actually sounds like this. U, U, U. It's a combination of E and U in a single sound. So anyway, that's why there's two forms. Sometimes, as I said, and this is important, the Greek upsilon will be transliterated as U in words. So we see words derived in English from Greek that may have a U coming from the upsilon. But sometimes we may see a word with a Y that's actually coming from the Greek upsilon. Okay, so the west is occidens in Latin, or dousis in Greek. Number 21, the north. The north in Latin is septentrio, septentrio, septentrio. And in the Greek, which you should be familiar with, is arctos, Arctos. Arctos. If you look at the Arctic Circle, the Arctic Circle, it's the circle around the North Pole, the Arctic Circle, Arctos, the north. And then lastly, number 21 is the south. In Latin, it's meridies, meridies. And in Greek, mesembria, mesembria, the south. So that's it for our first list in classical vocabulary. 21 words in English that relate to the heavens, 21 Latin words that are equivalent to those English terms, and then 21 Greek words or Greek terms that are equivalent to the English. The important thing to pay attention to is how these languages relate to one another. Greek came first, and what we see is many Latin words were taken from Greek into Latin, and many English words appear to have been taken from Latin, but many were in fact taken from Greek. Some are taken from Latin, some are taken directly from Greek. When we learn a Latin vocabulary word or a Greek vocabulary word, what's important is that once we learn that word, once we learn, for example, the word aster or the word aether, we learn a whole family of English words that are derived from that ancient word. For example, in English, there's a word ethereal, ethereal, which means having to do with the sky, something that's not earthly. Ethereal, okay, comes from the Greek word aether. If you know the word aether and you come across the word ethereal in an English reading, you'll be able to make a good guess as to what that word means. And that's how the study of Latin and Greek helps build our English vocabulary. But remember, at the same time, we're building our Latin and Greek vocabulary for classical studies. All right, so there's many benefits to this course. I plan to give one lesson like this for every lesson in the course. One video per lesson. We'll go through the transliteration, so even if you haven't studied Greek, you can still enjoy this course and study these vocabulary lists. And I want to challenge you that as I go through this transliteration and teach you the names of these Greek words, I want you to make an effort to look at the letters in the Greek column. Look at the Greek words and try and sound them out and learn the letters and their sounds, because it's not very difficult. And you can do it even if you're not studying Greek yet. Okay, so a challenge to give the Greek a try using the transliteration in the video to help you do that. I'm going to cut this video off now because I'd like it to stay short. You can go back and watch it again if you need to. If you have any questions, contact me on the forum or by email. I'd be happy to help you with these things. Now it's time for you to study this lesson, study the lists, English, Latin, and Greek, and master this lesson. God bless your studies.